See, Adam, you and I have been friends for years. You, me, Carl Anderson, we've ended up shot all over the world together as world champions. And I know your voice. I know you're sitting in your plush condo in San Diego, counting down the days left as world champion, because never before have you ever faced a man that knows you like I know you. So June 25th, Oceanside, California, Adam Pearce, Joey Ryan, main event on the marquee. Adam, I promise, I promise you that will be your last day as world champion, and the Joey Ryan era will begin.
Whoa, Black Betty. Welcome to Alliance Radio. I'm your host, Jay Cal. This is a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. It is 4:01, and it turns out that I'm short a guest. So what I'd like to do first is I'm going to go ahead and let's talk about the NWA Top 10 for the World's Heavyweight Championship. Again, our champion and our guest who will join us momentarily is the one and only Scrap Daddy, Adam Pearce. Ranked number 1, Phil Shatter. Number 2, Blue Demon Jr. Number 3, The Sheik. Number 4, Oliver John. Old School, Oliver John. Number 5, Shinsuke Nakamura. Number 6, Sid Salem. Number 7, Shane Haste. Number 8, Antonio Thomas. And number 9, Lance Cade. And rounding out the list, number 10, Robbie Hart. Again, you can get that list by going to Pro Wrestling Illustrated, their online site, which is www.pwi-online.com. Going through the rankings for the top 10, you'll see that John Cena still ranks number 1, Rob Van Dam number 2, Jack Swagger number 3, former NWA World Champion AJ Styles ranked number 4, Ring of Honor World Champion Tyler Black, and Adam Pearce ranked number 6. Above Randy Orton, Edge, Minoru Suzuki, and The Big Show. So there's your top 10, folks, and I do have somebody on the line, so let's just go to you. Caller, are you there?
I am.
The one and only Adam Pearce. Welcome to the show, Adam. How you doing?
Good. Yourself? Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for coming on. Doing well. You missed a great promo, and I think I'll just go ahead and play it again so everyone could hear it. I thought it was great. Here, take a listen.
Adam Pearce. They say keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. See, Adam, you and I have been friends for years. You, me, Carl Anderson, we've ended up shot all over the world together as world champions. And I know your voice. I know you're sitting in your plush condo in San Diego, counting down the days left as world champion, because never before have you ever faced a man that knows you like I know you. So June 25th, Oceanside, California, Adam Pearce, Joey Ryan, main event on the marquee. Adam, I promise you that will be your last day as world champion, and the Joey Ryan era will begin.
Adam Pearce, Joey Ryan threatening to end your third reign this June 25th at the Boys and Girls Club in Oceanside for SoCal Pro Wrestling. What do you have to say to that, champ?
I am absolutely applauding in my head Joey Ryan for his attitude. Nothing has changed since the days where we roamed the earth as world champions, as he said. So when he steps across the ring for me later on this month in Oceanside with the 10 pounds of gold on the line, I'm going to have a smile and a frown and conflicting emotions inside me. But that being said, when it's all said and done, as much as Joey wants to run his mouth, the song remains the same, my brother.
And for those of you who happen to follow some of the message boards out there, Joey Ryan getting a lot of praise and a lot of respect, I guess, because they believe that Joey Ryan is basically the quote-unquote best wrestler in Southern California, and he gets this shot at you, like I said, on the 25th. And it sounds like you respect him, and it sounds like this might not be a traditional Adam Pearce matchup. What do you say, champ?
Well, I'm not sure I understand what you mean by not a traditional matchup. Honestly and obviously, I have respect for Joey Ryan. You don't run all over the country with somebody for 2 or 3 years in a row the way we did and not grow to know someone and respect them for everything they are. But like Joey said, you also get a sense of what they're not. And on the 25th, all the talking goes out the window. It's just going to be Joey Ryan standing across the ring from me, and respect or no respect, love or hate, we're going to mix it up, and that's just the way it's got to be.
Excellent. Well, the last time you were down in Oceanside, it was for SoCal Pro Wrestling, you faced Tommy Wilson. That was your first actual defense since regaining what was rightfully yours, the NWA World Championship. In fact, it was the first time since you defended the title since 2008. When you walked into Oceanside as champion in SoCal Pro Wrestling, and you did what you said you would do against Tommy Wilson, you embarrassed him in front of his home crowd. How was it for you to step back into that Boys and Girls Club in Oceanside, and how was it for you to be against your home crowd with that NWA title strapped around your waist?
It was odd, and the reason I said that is because, like you said, it was the first championship defense I had in 2008, coming into a building that I've been in countless times, and normally I'd bet you dollars to donuts that those people in that building would have booed me unmercifully, but against Tommy Wilson, who is not shy when it comes to hating fans, I walked into that building with a humongous groundswell of support, something I wasn't entirely expecting and certainly prepared for, but I must say it did touch me a little bit. And I'd be interested to see what happens on the 25th back in that building against Joey Ryan. Last time he was in Oceanside, he didn't exactly have the people on his side. And so we'll see. We'll see what the people in Oceanside have to think as far as who they want to support in that match.
Adam, as I look down your challengers, the list of challengers who, there's so many names who have wanted to attach themselves to you in a title match. So far, though, there are only a handful of defenses scheduled for the month of June, and a matchup or two in July, and of course 3 of them in August that a lot of the NWA faithful are excited about. Of course, we're talking about Joey Ryan on the 25th. Then the next night, if you get through Joey Ryan, you're going to face someone who you're not a stranger to. In fact, he's somebody that's beaten you for championship gold in the past, and we're both talking about Sean Waltman, X-Pac. When he beat you for that title in El Paso, the NWA Heritage Championship, obviously you won that title back. Is there a possibility that Waltman knows more things about you than most of your opponents?
I think it's fair to say that he probably does. We've wrestled a number of times for a number of different championships, and I'm not ashamed to say I've come out on both sides of the coin against Sean Waltman, who's obviously a seasoned veteran. Obviously, when he is on top of his game and in the right frame of mind and ready to do business, there's not a whole lot of people better. He's proven the world over in countless promotions and countless territories, and on the 26th in Yuma, Arizona, it's me and Sean Waltman one more time, and you've got to be honest with you and the listeners and the board of directors. When I was given a contract with Sean Waltman's name on it, I was slightly surprised and amused, only because I hear of his antics on TNA television and whatnot, and sounds like same old X-Pac to me. So we'll see what happens on the 26th in Yuma. One thing I will say is that I don't expect Joey Ryan nor Sean Waltman to be any real threats to my championship. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm in and out of the ring against both of them in under 10 minutes.
You heard it here first, folks. Pearce is predicting 2 men, less than 20 minutes in 2 nights. You do have quite the schedule ahead of you. Those are back-to-back bouts. Not only the travel from sunny Southern California to the desert of Yuma, Arizona, then you're going to come back. Well, actually, no, you're traveling internationally. And again, I have to question, I don't know what Vanderpyle was thinking when he set this one up. You're going to Winnipeg to face the hotshot Danny Duggan for the Canadian Wrestling Elite, and that's in Manitoba, Canada, for those who need an atlas or a map. That's international, champ. The last time you took that belt out of the U.S., it didn't end well for you. I'm a little concerned. I got to be honest. I don't know this hotshot Danny Duggan. I couldn't find any clips of him on the internet, but that just proves to me that he might be a cat you don't know a whole lot about.
Well, let me just say this. Last time I took the championship internationally was in March, and I sit across the ring from Tyler Black and he won the Ring of Honor World Championship in a tag match. And while we didn't come out on the long end of the stick in that bout, I'm taking it back to Canada because I want everyone in that great country, and I say great, and I use that term very, very loosely. In fact, I believe Canada is America's hat and nothing more than that. Hotshot Danny Duggan is a skilled competitor. I'm well-versed in his repertoire. I understand exactly what he brings to the table. He's a very close personal friend of a guy named Kenny Omega, if you're aware and understand his prowess, currently setting the world on fire in New Japan. Right. Danny Duggan is a close friend and protege and a tag team partner on occasion of Omega, so I understand the athleticism, I understand the energy that he brings to the ring, and I understand that he will fall when I step into Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Now, champ, there are NWA promoters in Canada who, well, you stepped into a NWA sanctioned ring not too long ago to win that British Commonwealth Championship, and you know, there's a whole slew of names for you on the western side of the country with Scotty Mack, Sid Silent, who's on the top 10, even the Bomber Nelson Creed, who you have a long history with. How much longer is it going to be before we see you in an NWA ECCW ring?
You know, you'd have to ask promoter David Republic that. The last time I was in Vancouver, which, by the way, I find to be a beautiful city, was as part of the NWA World Title Tournament back in 2007. So it's been quite some time since I've been up in British Columbia, but I can say that the talent in that area is unparalleled. In my opinion, it's underexposed. You know, people mention Scotty Mack and people mention Nelson Creed, but there are 10 or 15 other guys who on any given night could win any championship in the sport of professional wrestling. And if Dave Republic wants to get on board and bring the champion to his territory, I'm all ready, willing, and able, as I've said. And that goes for any promoter in the National Wrestling Alliance. It doesn't take a lot to get a contract signed, especially when you've got a champion who is willing, and not only that, but wants to bring the championship to your territory. So, Dave Republic, you're on notice as well.
Listen up, Dave. And that goes for both Daves. Everyone listen up. We got the champ on Alliance Radio. Again, this is a product presentation of alliance-wrestling.com. Adam, and I think I can call you Adam, I think we've built that rapport and that relationship. Obviously, you're not a native of SoCal, but I feel that most Southern Californians have embraced you as you have embraced us. It's not your hometown, but it certainly has become your home. When you stepped into Millennium Pro Wrestling almost 10 years ago, you stepped out of retirement to come to MPW. In the end of July 31st, you re-debut for Millennium Pro Wrestling when you face another former NWA Heritage champion in Ryan Taylor. Let me just interrupt. A lot of your opponents seem to be former NWA Heritage champions. I mean, you're going to bring T.J. Perkins into an event? But going back, you're booked against Ryan Taylor, again, a former NWA Heritage champion in Los Angeles, bringing the NWA World title to Millennium Pro Wrestling. Tell me about your feelings about Millennium Pro, how you got your career rebooted down there in L.A., and what you have in store for Ryan Taylor when you return from your, I'm predicting it now, victory in Canada.
Well, I mean, I'll look at it like this. Millennium Pro Wrestling at that time, going back nearly 10 years, as you stated, was the first promotion in Southern California that I put my boots on for. And a lot of that thanks goes to Christopher Daniels for making that connection for me. A lot of people forget that Christopher Daniels is also a Chicago guy. And as you mentioned, Southern California may be not where I originate from, maybe not my original hometown, but it certainly has grown to be home in the last 10 years. And Millennium Pro Wrestling, when it came out of its hiatus and was informed that it was going to begin operations once again, I believe, was the first person called for their debut event and was unavailable at that time, but was eager to sign a contract to appear once again in MPW, not only for nostalgic purposes because of my history with the people that run the promotion, but also because it was an opportunity to get in the ring with Ryan Taylor, as you mentioned, a former Heritage champion. And as you also mentioned, a lot of my defenses seem to be coming up against former Heritage champions. Of course, I am a former Heritage champion myself, and that speaks volume as to what that championship does for the talents that carry it in the National Wrestling Alliance. It seems to be a precursor to bigger and better things, and I predict that Ryan Taylor will have that opportunity as well. Coming very soon, obviously, the 31st of July, when he steps in the ring with me, it will be the first time that we have faced each other. So there is that, there's a semblance of uncertainty there. Certainly I'm not familiar with him in the ring. The videotape study and whatnot can only bring you so much on a guy, but I think Ryan Taylor in this area has untapped potential. Another one of these guys that simply needs an opportunity, and once he gets it, will branch out, much like a guy like T.J. Perkins, much like half the guys that have been coming through this territory in the last 10 or 15 years. And a lot of those names are household these days. So Ryan Taylor's got probably the biggest match of his life at the end of July, and I'm looking forward to it.
And for those who are listening right now not familiar with Ryan Taylor, again, he is no slouch. He is a former Heritage champion. He's currently the EWF heavyweight champion out of the Inland Empire of NWA. He's also he's wrestled for Lucha Vavoom, wrestling for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and really he makes all of SoCal his home. He wrestles pretty much everywhere you can think of. So again, Ryan Taylor, no slouch. Hey champ, we got a caller on here. I'm going to go ahead and bring him online, and let's see what his question is for you.
Sure.
Caller, you there?
Is it
Hello,
me?
caller.
You there?
Yeah, it's you.
Okay.
We're here.
Hey, champ, big fan of yours. Been watching you since you were back in Chicago, way back in the day. Had the pleasure of working with Mike Quackenbush and Don Montoya a lot back in the day, and wondering when we're going to reunite the Goldbound Mafia to do the Black T-Shirt Squad feud. And also, too, I just want to get your comments on how things are going working with Cornette at Ring of Honor.
I missed the last half of the question. I heard the part about the Black T-Shirt Squad and the Goldbound Mafia, which brought a smile to my face. Those are from many moons ago. The Goldbound Mafia, myself, Colt Cabana, CM Punk, Dave Prazak, Chucky Smooth, and of course the Black T-Shirt Squad, Don Montoya, Mike Quackenbush, Reckless Youth, Tookie Ramirez. I'd love to just see those guys more often than I get to now. Every once in a while I'll see Quackenbush. I haven't seen Montoya or Reckless in years, and I haven't seen Twiggy Ramirez since the last time I wrestled him in 1998. So,
wow.
Yeah. I didn't get the second part of your question.
Just how you're enjoying working with Cornette and Ring of Honor right now, and how that's going for you.
Love Cornette. Jimmy Cornette is, I'm happy and proud to say, not only a mentor but a friend, and I find his experience invaluable in any number of situations, both wrestling related and not, and it's a blessing. I thought I was extremely fortunate in 2005 when he managed myself and Steve Carino for a short period of time in Ring of Honor, and since he became available and has been associated with the company, it's like old times, it's like old home week, and again, I couldn't be more grateful for his experience, and it's like a perfect union. You know, he has ideas, I have ideas. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, but most of the time we're on the same page, and it's a beautiful thing when it works out.
That's great. I just want to tell you what a great job you're doing as the champ. Really look forward to seeing you again live. I live here in Southern California, so I'm lining up my trips, and I might even be in Columbus actually for your match against Phil Shatter. So keep up the great work.
I appreciate that very much. I look forward to having you out there, and it means a lot to me simply because the NWA champion these days it seems like it's more and more difficult to get the championship out there with the economy being the way it is, but you got somebody willing. So
You're doing
I'm
something
proud
right.
to be that guy. Thank you, sir.
All right, have a great day.
Caller,
Yep.
before you go, where did you hear about the show?
Which show?
This show, the radio show.
I'm a long-time fan. I go back to the NWA. Jesus, I was at the 50th anniversary in Cherry Hill. I mean, even before that, but this second generation of the NWA, yeah, I've been following it for a long time. Like I said, I used to work with Quack and Montoya back in the East Coast a lot. So
Right.
Did you big?
I knew about the Black T-shirt squad and the Gold Dawn Mafia. Like, even before Adam moved out west, it's been a big fan. So
I appreciate that.
Hey, thank you for your call. So, and then, I'm sorry, Adam, while we had that call, I received an email, and you didn't leave a name here, but a gentleman says, or maybe it's a lady, I don't know, I hear you had some great times working for DJ Medina and WCWA. What are your fondest memories working with him?
I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar with that name. DJ Medina?
Yeah, that's what the email says for WCWA.
WCWA was, if I remember right, was a great wrestling club run by two friends of mine who currently do the color commentary for SoCal Pro Wrestling, the Dynamic Brothers, but the name DJ Medina escapes me. Sounds like somebody that probably steals money from a Wiener Schnitzel.
Wow. Okay.
That work for you?
We just got, yeah, I think maybe we just got ribbed. So we talked about your defense against Ryan Taylor that's coming up. Your last defense in SoCal was against a young upstart, Johnny Goodtime, one half of the NWA Pro Heritage Tag Team Champions for NWA Mach 1. You've worked with Mach 1 in the past. Obviously, everyone knows about the matches that you had with T.J. Perkins. Also, you were part of the wrestlers who took on the Globetrotters, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I only saw photos. I never really got to see what happened. Let us know what happened when you and the wrestlers took on the Globetrotters.
First of all, let me just say that the Harlem Globetrotters are, in my opinion, the biggest crooks in the history of entertainment and sport. First of all, I was a man when I came to that game at Santa Ana High School way back when for Mach 1 when the wrestlers took on the Harlem Globetrotters. I wore my boots, I wore my tights, I wore the world title, and I wore my robe when everyone else was running around in Nikes. Now, you may think I'm an idiot for doing so, wondering how can you play basketball in wrestling boots, but I'm here to say that the ankle support provided by my wonderful patent leather boots from the fine people in Stagecoach Boots in Florida provided me much more support than I would have had wearing a pair of Air Jordans. For the record, and this can be corroborated, I did not score, and I'll get to that in a second. However, I did have 2 clean steals, 4 rebounds, and a block shot. Now, on to why I didn't score and why the Globetrotters are crooks. I forget what his name was, but the man was probably 6'8" or 9, one of the biggest and tallest men I've ever seen, quicker than grease lightning, tells me that if I end up with the ball coming down the floor, he's going to let me have a clear path to put it in the hole. So, of course, I think this is great. And, of course, then I steal the ball and I take off. Now, what I have to say is I think the guy's a liar because he's upset I stole the ball from him. And I'm not going to give you a name because I'm not going to dignify his name because the man's a liar and a cheat and a scam artist and doesn't deserve the press. But I took the ball from him because I am like Allen Iverson on the basketball court, my friend. I have hands that move with quickness. He didn't see it coming. I crossed over and I was going coast to coast to lay it up and in, and lo and behold, where did the ball go? But this man, 6'9", leaping through the air like a 747 coming out of the clouds, swats the ball out of bounds, looks me dead in the eye, and says, "Sorry, I lied." I was demoralized. I was victimized. I felt violated.
It sounds like a champ, and it sounds like the wound is still fresh, I'm kind of sorry for bringing it up.
I'm holding the grudge, and I will continue to hold the grudge. I told John Ian, next time he brings the Globetrotters to Southern California, I want to be locked up one-on-one against him the entire game. And again, I'm not going to mention his name because he doesn't deserve the press. He's a liar, he's a cheat, he's a scam artist, and vengeance will be mine.
Well, speaking of vengeance, and looking forward to some defenses that are coming up for you in late months of August. We're looking at a title defense in you and versus the national champion, a man who beat you, who clearly you avenged your loss when you won the NWA World Championship in that triple threat match for NWA New Beginnings in Charlotte. I'm talking about the national champion Phil Shatter. You two are going to lock horns in a double main event, Columbus, Ohio. Scott Steiner takes on a mystery opponent, but you know who you're facing. You're facing the one and only Universal Soldier, Phil Shatter.
Yeah, this is under protest. I've already got several complaints, and I've got my attorneys talking to Bob Trowbridge because it's simple. I don't believe that Phil Shatter deserves a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. Same way I don't feel like he deserved to be in that triple threat match back in March for New Beginnings in Charlotte. He's a national champion. I understand that. He's done a hell of a job. I understand that. He holds a victory over me. I understand that. The fact of the matter is, he did not win the opportunity to receive a shot at the World Championship. He lost the championship match. He was in the triple threat, didn't get the job done, and I don't see how or where in the NWA bylaws it says that a loser in a triple threat match has any kind of rematch clause. Now, I understand that the NWA Board of Directors has Shatter pegged as the man. He's the next man to take the title to the glory. Well, on August 1st in Columbus, it's not going to get done. He didn't get done before. He's not going to get done then. And as big as bad he is, I don't really care. Simple. Phil Shatter is not going to get it done. I've called in. I've already had my associates take care of Phil Shatter on one occasion, and as you're well aware, I am a very, very deeply connected man in this business.
And we're talking about Jeff G. Bailey and Chemo. Bailey being the manager of Phil Shatter, and Chemo being a longtime companion of Shatter. Trend is back on him, and yeah, definitely did some of your dirty work, if we would. Champ, there's also maybe some collusion coming around because 6 days later you're back in Charlotte, and a quote-unquote #1 contender is who you're going to face for that world title.
Right.
Defend your world title against, I should say. And then the next day, there's the Future Legends Cup, also at NWA Charlotte. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was following New Beginnings, and Greg Price had a great show going on out there in Charlotte, and certainly looking forward to the NWA Legends Fan Fest, and hoping that they have a very successful event out there. But the #1 contender for the title is recognized by Pro Wrestling Illustrated as the one, we're talking about Phil Shatter again. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Phil Shatter also in the Future Legends Cup? So wasn't he also in the running for that? So
you're a very intelligent man, aren't you?
I try to be, Champ. I try to
You're a very intelligent man. I can see that the scam, the smoke and mirrors that the National Wrestling Alliance is putting out there for the public to swallow certainly isn't clouding the judgment of one Mr. J. Cal. It's very plain to see what's being lined up, and they must take me for an idiot in the board of directors offices, because the simple fact that I'm going to face Phil Shatter on August 1st, then I'm going to come back a week later to face the quote-unquote #1 contender, and then the day after that I'm going to face whoever wins the Future Legends Cup. You could be looking at 3 matches within 8 days against the same guy, and I'll tell you what, I don't know, if anyone follows any sport in the world, they know that to beat a team one time is difficult enough, but to do it back-to-back is that much better, and to do it 3 times in that short of an amount of time amounts to the Lakers and Celtics sweeping each other, and as we can see, it's going to Game 6, so it doesn't happen. So I've got the cards, the proverbial deck stacked against me, but I'm not happy about it. In fact, the entire thing's in protest. All of it's in protest. Bob Trowbridge, I'm protesting on Worldwide Internet Radio. Protest, protest, protest. Don't be surprised, and I'm just throwing this out there. This is not a threat. This is not anything that I'm willing to confirm. But don't be surprised if Phil Shatter doesn't make it to Columbus on August 1st, and don't be surprised if the #1 contender isn't available to compete in Charlotte during the Fan Fest. And don't be surprised whoever wins the Future Legends Cup somehow doesn't have the ability to get in the ring with the champion the day after. Stack the deck against me. I'm the puppet master, brothers. I'm the one pulling the strings. And when you back me into a corner, just remember, I've got more to lose than all of you. I've got more on the line than all of you. And I've got mighty big shoes to fill. So bring it on.
Hey, champ, real quick, I'm going to play the commercial for Yuma, Arizona. Again, if you guys are unaware, there's going to be an NWA Pro Wrestling event in Yuma, Arizona, and I'm just going to go ahead and play the commercial.
The stars of the NWA come to the Desert Sun Stadium on Saturday night, June 26th. Don't miss NWA World Champions Vampire Adam Pearce, Blue Demon Jr., Sean X-Pac Walton, Mascara Sagrada, and the man known as Paul Bearer, Percy Pringle III. Tickets on sale now at the box office or by calling 928-373-5040. Don't miss this great event under the stars.
Again, Adam Pearce, you're all set up for your big defense on the 26th. Of course, you got to get by Joey Ryan, who we both decided that that's going to be done in about 10 minutes. You're going to be facing Sean Waltman. A lot of other wrestlers are going to be out there for that weekend. We're talking about Nelson Creed from the Great Northwest up there at ECCW. Also, as the event listed, Percy Pringle and his team, the Natural Selection. I've also heard Los Luchas. I've heard, again, your opponent, Sean Waltman, also Blue Demon and Mascara Sagrada. So it looks like a pretty stacked card. If you guys are in Arizona or within driving distance of Yuma, Arizona, definitely make sure you check out that event. I'll be there. I'm not signing autographs, but I'll be there. And you guys should check it out. Hey, Adam, we have another caller online. Do you mind if I bring him up?
Bring him on.
Caller, are you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Very cool. This is DKM from the board.
Hey, DK, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. And I actually have a couple of things for the champ there. First of all, I just want to say how happy I am and impressed I am about your busy schedules defenses. I think that's absolutely great for the NWA, great for the business as a whole. And I'm really hoping you come through them all. I'm really hoping you come through them all because I really want to see you here in North Texas. So I've been telling Ken Taylor on the board and everything that I'm really wanting him to bring you in because I want to see you wrestle in person.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I've got several phone calls from promoter Ken Taylor here in the last couple of days, and I haven't been able to connect with him yet as I've been on the road, but by all accounts, it seems that Ken Taylor's got something in the works, and the names I always hear popping up are Lance Cade. Now I'm hearing the name Charlie Haas, which would be an extremely brutal and an intense matchup, but if I had to guess, I would say you'd probably see me somewhere in Texas before the year's out, provided I retain the World Championship, and I appreciate Texas and like Texas and have performed there many times, and it would be an honor to go back.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because I haven't had a chance to see you in person. I'm really hoping to get the chance to see you in person. And then the next thing is, I mean, we all know that the wrestler Adam Pearce knows that there's nobody that could replace him as world champion. He's the best there is, was, and all that good stuff. But I'm wondering about the Adam Pearce that's more behind the scenes, the Adam Pearce that travels up and down the roads with, different guys. Who do you see out there that could be, a world champion when you're ready to retire?
Interesting question. I think there's obviously a multitude of talent in the wrestling industry that isn't signed to WWE, TNA, or Ring of Honor. And fortunately for me, in the last 15 years or so, I've gotten to know a great number of these guys and have been fortunate enough to run the roads and perform in many different states and countries with a variety of guys. People that I'm impressed with are usually the guys that I see firsthand all the time. someone who I think would be a welcome addition to any NWA card is a mainstay in Ring of Honor, and his name is Roderick Strong. I couldn't be more impressed with his work ethic and his ability, and the fact that he's 24 years old and has been around this business for more than half of his life, and is really devoted and really holds the wrestling business with the highest respect that someone can. And that's always endearing to me, being what people consider to be an old soul or old school. I find myself, again, in a similar situation where I've been around wrestling for literally half of my life, and to see someone with the athleticism and drive and the upside of Roderick Strong, I think he'd do the belt wonders. Again, someone who probably should have been world champion already, Bryan Danielson, who I've been lucky enough to wrestle in a number of different settings, who unfortunately it seems has been cut loose from his employer, and I won't offer an opinion on that, only I'll say that knowing Bryan the way I do, he'll end up on his feet, and he'll end up successful because that's what he is. Bryan Danielson, for sure, I think would be a credit to any promotion. Certainly the NWA as champion would be wonderful. And there's so many guys out there that the name wouldn't even ring a bell, but that's the beautiful thing about the NWA and the outreach that the company has, is whether it's in a baseball stadium in Yuma, Arizona in front of 1,500 people, or if it's in front of 10 people at a local armory in the middle of nowhere, there's always a diamond in the rough out there. And those diamonds at some point were going to shine bright enough for people to see it, pardon the cliche. But those names are just two that I think would do wonders for the championship. And like I said, even a guy like Ryan Taylor, who most of the country isn't probably familiar with, in 2 or 3 or 4 years, if he continues on the path that he's on, who's saying he won't be next in line or right there? And that goes for a guy like Phil Shatter, who's just now starting to get some of the recognition and the exposure that I think he deserves. He's certainly done more than enough to hold his own in his own territory, and I'd like to see him kind of branch out and get his name and face seen in other places as well. So there's 2 or 3 or 4 names that I think would make fine champions.
Well, thanks for your opinion. I happen to personally be a Phil Shatter fan myself, but I tell you what, I'm really enjoying your run with the title, and I'm wishing you the best.
I appreciate it. This one is this third time around is almost more gratifying. The first one was unexpected and turned out a lot better than I think anybody would have guessed. And the second one was much shorter than I would have liked. But this one, even in a down economy, is proving to be not only more fruitful, but a lot more fun. And I'm happy to say that.
Well,
Thanks for your call, DK.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Now, going in a completely different direction, Champ, and I'm pretty sure you're still well connected here in Southern California, and of course through NWA Pro Wrestling. And I'm sure you've heard the, to me, bad news, but I guess it's good news for him. The AWS boss Bart has announced recently that that's it. He's done. He's putting on the final show as part of his birthday bash, but AWS is closing up shop. Now, being a resident of Southern California and seeing many of your matches take place there at the Frankenstein Arena and later the AWS Arena, I got to say that I know that you have to hold the alternative wrestling show in high regard, and I'm sure it saddens you to hear that it's closing. Share some memories that you have working at AWS and working with Bart and for Bart, and why don't you just tell us a little bit about it?
I think for those that are unfamiliar with Bart Kopitsky, this is a man whose entire life in one way or another has been devoted to wrestling, and again, you can't help but respect that. For me personally, he was another one of these guys when I first moved to Southern California 10 years ago that was willing to give me an opportunity unproven. It had only heard my name through the grapevine, but had never seen me work, and was willing to take a shot on me like he has so many other guys. And we're talking literally hundreds of wrestlers have come through the AWS ranks when it was at Frankenstein Arena, and then obviously at the AWS Arena now. With Bart closing up shop, that's going to be a void in the area, which I'm sad to say really can't afford to have another void. Bart was one of these guys that was there providing work for any number of wrestlers and giving them the opportunity to hone their skills and ply their trade and really set forth a learning ground that's going to be sorely missed. You know, I understand where Bart's coming from and why he's got to close up shop and move in a different direction. And it's going to be a very, very weird. It's going to be weird not to hear Bart's name or see him around. And I wish him all the best. I regret that I can't be there for him on the 19th when his last event is taking place. I'll be in Toronto with Ring of Honor. But I've talked to Bart about it and given my personal thanks. And I've always appreciated the opportunities and the work that he's given to me. It was a real blessing to be able to work alongside someone who shared a lot of the same vision and had the same mind frame for wrestling that both Bart and I shared during our time together. And I really wish the Southern California community could find a way to thank Bart the way I think he deserves to be thanked. I don't want to say that today's generation of wrestlers are ungrateful or selfish, but they're ungrateful and they're selfish, and every single one of them that have been able to put on their boots and tights and go to work in some small way owe that to Bart for providing an arena and a ring and a payday and a crowd, no matter how big or small it may have been. I think we forget that it's a team effort, and it's one of those things where we can't go out there and perform and become better at what we do with the main goal being able to secure a living for yourself without promoters who are able to do the same thing. And it's one of those relationships where one feeds off another, and a lot of times, you know, we hear the wrestlers getting all kinds of praise for the things that they do right, and we hear when they do things wrong, but this is a situation where Bart Kapitsky really needs to be applauded for the effort and the time that he's put in making this scene better than it would have been without him. And I think that's a credit to what Bart has done, and I certainly offer him all the respect and thanks in the world.
Absolutely. And, you know, being in the area, knowing what Bart has done for the guys that are out here, it's really kind of sad to see him go. And like you said, you understand why he's doing it, and you're happy for the guy for doing what he wants to do and trying a new adventure in life. But at the same time, you know, so many memories of the AWS Arena, the Frank and Sons Arena, so many shows happened there because of Bart, and not just alternative wrestling shows, but the local lucha group, FMLL, obviously Revolution Pro, the early days of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Bart was responsible for having a lot of those guys get their starts, and it is sad to see him go.
He was instrumental in so many walks of wrestling life in Southern California, and it could be as simple as providing merchandise for guys or bringing a ring or having a room available. Bart was a go-to guy for anything that you needed. And, God, so many matches in that building. I won the Heritage Championship for Bart in the old Frank and Sons Arena in front of a packed house against the Plague. And, God, that's going back many moons. But, you know, it's just one of the many memories. The first Pro Wrestling Guerrilla event was held in Bart's building. And, you know, who's to say that, I mean, the promotion may not have even ever gotten off the ground if it wasn't for Bart.
Right. And you know, and the famous names that have been in AWS, from obviously yourself and you know, SoCal wrestling icons like Super Dragon, you know, guys who come from the East Coast like Sanjay Dutt, guys who come from Mexico like El Hijo de Santo, Mascarada Sagrada, Blue Demon Jr. A lot of these lucha guys, before there was a Lucha Vavoom, before there was a Pro Wrestling Revolution in Northern California, they were coming here to work at Frank and Sons for Bart. So it's really sad to see that he's leaving. And again, everyone here from Alliance Wrestling Radio wishes you the best, Bart. If you guys want to check out his, he did an interview with the Empire Wrestling Radio. I highly suggest it. I listened to it today, and you just kind of remember all the things that he was responsible for. Check out http://kcaaradio.com/Saturdays.html and look for Empire Wrestling Radio. You can also find that if you go to the EmpireWrestlingFederation.com website. Thanks for sharing your memories with us about Bart. And of course he's not dead, but we're definitely gonna miss him out here in SoCal. So as I look down the list of names you've defeated already in your third reign as champ, obviously we talked about you outclassed Tommy Wilson in Oceanside. What we haven't talked about is when you brought the title to Minnesota for Steel Domain. You retained against former WWE wrestler Bam Neely. You bested Johnny Gitzheim at the American Sports Center in Anaheim for Mach 1. And also something kind of exciting that just happened, I believe, about a week and a half ago when you stepped into the ring with Michael Strider. And saw some familiar faces in Kansas City. You walked into Memorial Hall, which is world-renowned for many, many NWA World Championship defenses with King Harley Race. And so you went there and you faced Michael Strider, and why don't you let us know kind of what happened and what took place?
First of all, I hadn't been in Kansas City for probably, maybe close to 10 years, and saw some familiar faces from down in that area when I was wrestling before I left Chicago, and Michael Strider hadn't yet come into the business at that point, but established himself as a kind of a local champion that had proven all he had to prove and done some MMA as well, and coming back to professional wrestling for Metro Pro, as you said, out of Memorial Hall. Outside of Madison Square Garden, I don't know that wrestling purists will find another building in this country with more history than Memorial Hall in Kansas City, Kansas.
Right.
Harley Race beat Jack Briscoe in that building for the title. Flair and Dusty did their thing in there. You name it, you name the champion, you name the area, they've been and performed in front of the fans of Memorial Hall, and it was an honor to be brought in to do just that and to do battle with Michael Strider, who is all he's cracked up to be. Absolutely delivered exactly as billed. Solid wrestler. I think would again, as one of the callers asked, who could be respectable champions, you could add Michael Strider's name to that list. We pummeled each other for 15 or 20 minutes in that ring, and I was fortunate to come out of there less worse for wear than he did, and still carrying the 10 pounds of gold, and kind of overwhelming, man. Memorial Hall, just to be treated the way it was by the promoters in Metro Pro. I look forward to going back. I think they've got a very, very solid foundation and an incredible upside, and I think the area is ready for top-notch quality professional wrestling again, and I know that Metro Pro and the NWA are happy to be working together, and I think that the production is only going to get better. And obviously, with that crew working together and providing regional television there, it's going to hopefully spurn the fans of Kansas City and around the surrounding area come back to Memorial and fill it up back like it did in the 70s and 80s. It was a great crowd on hand for the first taping, and if that's the first shoot out of the box, I mean, I think the sky's the limit with Metro Pro, and I look forward to going back. Absolutely.
Right, and aside from all that, like you mentioned, the local television, I think it's really exciting just to know that the not only the NWA will be represented on television in Kansas City, but the world champion was there at their premiere event, and I'm sure many of the fans in Kansas City are looking forward to seeing you back there. Metro Pro Wrestling will begin airing on Metro Sports, 11 p.m. on Saturdays. As of right now, they're not on like DirecTV or Dish Network. You're going to have to, if you don't have Time Warner or Comcast or Sunflower, you're going to kind of be left out in the dark. But make sure you do attend their live events. They do have another event coming up, I believe July 7th, I think is the date. But make sure you guys are checking out Metro Pro Wrestling. And like you were saying, Champ, the Memorial Hall, very few venues are meccas for wrestling out here in SoCal. The closest thing we had to it was the Grand Olympic Auditorium, which now I believe is a Korean church. But
right.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to see that go. But I'm glad that the NWA is still connected with the Memorial Hall out there in Kansas City, and certainly hope you return there to defend that title once again. We're just about
funny, man.
Oh, go ahead. We got a little bit of time. Go ahead, Champ.
Oh, good. I was just going to share a funny story that probably no one cares about, but I do. It was pretty funny after the match with Michael Strider in Memorial Hall. Went back to the dressing rooms to grab a shower and turned it on, and as you might imagine, a building that was built in the late 1920s probably doesn't have the fine perks of modern plumbing that we're all accustomed to in our homes in 2010. So when I turned the shower on and turned it all the way to the hottest setting I could get it to, I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was, that Arctic freezing water continued to pour out of the shower head. And so I sat there for 5 or 10 minutes, literally waiting for this water to get warm, and it never did. And so promoters were sitting there waiting for me. I had to sign autographs and take care of some business after the event, and they kept yelling down for me, was I ready, was I ready? And here I am like an idiot standing in a towel with flip-flops on in front of the shower that's absolutely, I'm talking Alaska cold, man. And they were getting upset with me because I was taking forever, and here I was, too much of a baby to get in this cold water. And finally I said to myself, if Lou Thesz and Jack Briscoe and Harley Race and Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes can get in this ice-cold-ass water, then I certainly can. So, yes, I did, for all of you that care, enter the Arctic freezing waters of Memorial Hall shower room and cleanse myself, not only from the blood, sweat, and tears that was shed earlier, and not only did I suffer perhaps a little bit of shrinkage, but yes, I was minty fresh and zestfully clean.
Well, you know, and the old adage is, champ, those iceberg showers create a toughness groove in your brainstem, so, you know, all your opponents better be watching out. Hey, just a correction from earlier. The show, the next Metro Pro Wrestling show is July 16th. That'll be a Friday, and again, that'll be in Memorial Hall in Kansas City. Hey, champ, you know, while we got you here, obviously there's a lot of things going on between your title defenses and the dates that you're appearing for Ring of Honor. Is there anything that we missed? Is there anything you'd like to promote or talk about while we've got you on the air?
Yeah, I think we covered it all, man. As usual, as I go on my spiel when I do these interviews, I just want to implore everybody out there to support their local wrestling, support independent professional wrestling, the training grounds and the proving grounds for the superstars and the heroes of tomorrow are forging their way through today. And we don't have a structure in place. We don't have a territory system that our forefathers in wrestling had before us, so it's important to support the wrestling that is able to support your love of the business, whether that's in front of 15 people or 15,000. Please continue to support the National Wrestling Alliance, support Ring of Honor, support your local wrestling, support your local wrestlers. Again, these are the superstars of tomorrow, and I think we sometimes take that for granted or we don't think about that. This industry survives on the dollar and the moral support of the wrestling fan, and there's a lot more out there than is what is being provided on television Monday nights on the USA Network, and it's important to remember that.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself, and again, champ, thank you so much for your time. Again, I look forward to seeing you on the 25th at Oceanside at the Boys and Girls Club in Oceanside for SoCal Pro Wrestling. And I'll see you on the 26th again when you take on Sean Waltman in Yuma, Arizona. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to having you back here on Alliance Radio, champ.
You let me know when you want me back, Jake Allen. Remember, Oceanside the 25th and Joey Ryan, less than 10 minutes. 26th in Yuma against Sean Waltman, less than 10 minutes. I'm telling you right now, take it to the bank, put it in your pipe and smoke it. 2 championship wins in less than 20 minutes. You heard it here first.
Call your bookies, everyone. Call them now. All right, champ. Thank you for your time, and again, thank you, and good luck on your upcoming defenses.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. God bless.
God bless. Have a good one. So there he is, folks, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Adam Pearce. What a great guy. Glad he took time to call us today. Again, like you said, his next defense is coming up the 25th with Joey Ryan, SoCal Pro in Oceanside. 26th for NWA Pro Wrestling with Sean Waltman in Yuma, Arizona. July 10th in Winnipeg, Manitoba against the hotshot Danny Duggan. for Canadian Wrestling Elite, July 31st against Ryan Taylor in Los Angeles for Millennium Pro Wrestling, facing Shatter in Columbus, Ohio for NWA, and then also 2 matches back-to-back on August 7th and August 8th for the NWA Legends Fan Fest. He's going to face the number 1 contender and the Future Legends Cup. So that's going to do it for us, folks. Again, one more thing. If you want to check out an Adam Pearce versus Johnny Goodtime, that will be on the from the Vault section on AllianceWrestling.com. That's Alliance-Wrestling.com. Make sure you check it out. And thanks for listening. We hope you have a good one. And tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow, a rare back-to-back show for Alliance Wrestling. We are going to have Northern California Pro Wrestling Revolution promoter, none other than Gabe Ramirez, and definitely look forward to speaking to him. And that's tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. This is Alliance Wrestling Radio, and we thank you for listening.